Good evening, everyone, and thanks for coming. I'm going to do a few things. I'm going to tell you, first off, quickly how I got involved with this organization, what the history legally has been in connection with which I've represented the organization with respect to the laws that have been were first proposed and not enacted, now are again proposed and hopefully will be enacted. And then I'll talk a little bit about the new legislation and some of the interesting aspects of the new legislation. First, I first became involved with the coalition when they sought a grant from St. Mark's Episcopal Church, and I was on the outreach committee, and we looked at the proposal to alleviate suffering among a most dejected group of people in our community for whom there were very few other resources at that time, and we supported that. And consequently, I got the call when there were citations issued to some of the volunteers for the coalition a while later. Now, there's a lot that occurred between the first contact and the second contact, and namely is there were a number of bills that were proposed in the House for needle exchange programs. And as many of you know, Texas is the only state in the union that does not have some form of a needle exchange program to prevent the transmission of HIV and hepatitis among intravenous drug users. And so this session that's coming up will not be the first session where there's been an attempt to enact legislation to provide for such a program and to provide a context for volunteers and agencies to provide services legally to these people who are among the most, as I say, dejected members of our society. When the original needle exchange proposal was on the floor in the House and Senate, and it actually contemplated a full program and a statutory framework for having a program for a needle exchange program. And it died in the legislature. But what was passed through the heroic efforts of Ruth Jones McClendon was a pilot project for Bexar County. And the pilot project legislation provided that there would be a pilot program in Bexar County to test the efficacy of a needle exchange program. And it authorized the expenditure of money to establish a needle exchange program in Bexar County. And that was, it was contemplated that it would go forward and that Texas at least would have in one area a state-sanctioned needle exchange program, and we could see actually whether it would work and see its effect on in the health community in San Antonio. Actually, what occurred, unfortunately, was when it was set up, the law enforcement authorities or the prosecutor, the district attorney said that she would prosecute anyone who tried to carry out the program as a violation of the paraphernalia laws, and warned the county employees tasked with carrying out the pilot project that they would be prosecuted. And that put a chilling effect on the program, on the pilot project, which really has never, as far as I know, been able to get off the ground. About the same time, there were volunteers who were involved in needle exchange activities. And they were on the west side, and this is not uncommon in Texas. This is going on in other places, trying to prevent the transmission of these diseases. And on January 4th, 2008, I got a call, and the call was that 3 of our volunteers had been cited with a paraphernalia charge, a criminal charge punishable as a misdemeanor, for which they could receive a fine. It was basically because of misdemeanor level C. It was, in essence, equivalent to a traffic ticket. In other words, it wasn't as consequential. Well, that began the whole saga rolling in terms of attention on the needle exchange programs. And the reason why was, here were clearly people on a missionary, on a Christian mission founded by foundations and churches to alleviate suffering. They'd been charged. They weren't people who were distributing paraphernalia for, to promote drug use. That wasn't the intention. That wasn't the purpose. But here they were cited as if they were, and that began the process. And we assembled a team of lawyers, including Jerry Goldstein and others, who represented the individuals, and together we coordinated the defense and the strategy for the defense of these individuals, and put their case out in front of the public, and the case for the needle exchange. Well, at one point we were told that their charges would be upgraded to a misdemeanor A, which would be significantly greater threat of incarceration and financial penalty. That never occurred, but what did occur, and this is certainly to be cited in any way or to be threatened with incarceration is a cloud for anyone, but there was certainly a silver lining, and that was that a terrible omission in the public health structure of Texas was brought to light and got a lot of attention, not just in our local press, but nationwide, and people started to pay attention, and then we had editorials in major newspapers in Texas saying we need to have a needle exchange program. And this provided support for people who had already been doing heroic work, and were provided a little bit more protection in the public eye for going forward with legislation to authorize a needle exchange program. And so that silver lining of what came out of those citations is that now there's been a lot of attention to needle exchange programs, and the research which has been done in large part by the fellow who's sitting here to my right,